Hi friends, I hope you're doing well. I'm here today with a pick a card. This pick a card is a universal message for the lunar eclipse that's happening tomorrow, along with the full moon in Taurus. I took some notes here. The full moon in Taurus that is happening tomorrow in the very early morning is, if we think about, full moons, eclipses, that is the time of full manifestation and the ability to let go. Because we have become full, right? And Taurus relates to more than, what we know about Taurus in our society, which is, usually when we talk about Taurus, the stereotype is like, food, beauty. We think of Venus. Venus is the ruler planet of Taurus as well as Libra, but they have different kinds of archetypes, and each of them represent a different facet of Venus. Taurus being the more earthly kind, and Libra being more of the justice-driven kind of Venus, like the equality that Venus strives for. But Taurus is, as I said, the earthly part of Venus. And so, when we think about Taurus, we think about, all of the goodies of the earth, all the food and the comfort and the beauty and the art that it brings with it. But what I've experienced with Taurus energy that has been more impactful than anything in my life has been values. Taurus, ruled by Venus, it helps us ponder about our values and what they are. What is it that we value, right? And sometimes it takes such a long time for us to understand and realize what it is that we actually do value in life. And we have to go through experiences of heartache and pain in order to secure the knowledge of what it is that we value. And sometimes we have to lose things to value them and understand that we valued it before, before anything. So this is an interesting conversation that well, it's not a conversation because you can't really speak on the other side, but you can always comment if you'd like. But this talk is interesting for this specific time because not only we are going through the eclipse, which can be really intense energy, and it really asks us to like power down, kind of log off and come back inward. But also this eclipse is trining Pluto in Capricorn. So, and we are in Scorpio season. So Pluto and Scorpio are energies that are really big right now. So not only we have the eclipse, not only we have the full moon in Taurus, but we have this very scorpionic, I think Mercury is still in Scorpio too. Very scorpionic, intense, deep area. Yeah, it's just this this swamp has presented itself to us, and the urge to go into the swamp and dig through all the life that is within is very powerful, and it's making you want to go there. It's making us all want to go there. I don't know if you've noticed, but this past few weeks, you might have been getting into really deep conversations, either with other people or with yourself. You might have gone into really deep, intense, existentialist, you know, periods of time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying though? We are going into this into these feelings of intensity and depth. Nothing is really shallow right now. And I think that a lot of what can help right now is for us to do shadow work. This week, my friend Andrew, who has been working with Gestalt therapy, has helped me look into my shadow self and work through a bit of personal connection to it, as in like speaking to it. And I have also been doing a lot of shadow self journaling, which you can find if you look up on Google shadow self journal prompts. There's so many questions that you can find. There's so many resources that are free. You know, these things that I do, like tarot, they're tools and they can help you, but they're not the actual result. They're not doing anything unless you do it. They're helping you maybe see what to do, but if you don't do it, then it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, it doesn't lead anywhere. So I just want to remind you that, you know, tarot doesn't give you the answers. Tarot helps illuminate what might be hidden within you, but really working on our, on our shit. We have to work on our shit. And tarot isn't necessarily working on our shit. It's helping find clarity to work on our shit and to do the things that feel right personally for us. This time is a really good time to journal with shadow self journal prompts. It's a really good time to do any kind of therapy that is very Plutonian. I mean, therapy is very Plutonian in general, in its nature. Go into it, go deeper into it. You know, there might be fear. Pluto does relate to fear sometimes too, but do it anyway. Do it anyway, because there's a lot that can come up and a lot of great, beautiful healing that you might have been holding yourself back from. I wrote down here that eclipses, they happen in the same sign every 19 years. So look back at 2002 and see what kind of themes were happening then. Be it with family life, be it with career, be it with maybe journal about that to find some answers. I actually need to do that myself. But yes, getting into that, reflecting back to that time and how different things are nowadays and how similar some things might still be, and what are the differences and what are the similarities. This eclipse is going to be bringing a lot of changes around our values for the next 18 months. So, eclipse season is really powerful, right? It is a really big time for change. It's a really big time for new beginnings. And it's a really big time for us to reflect upon what the full moon is bringing. And in this case, it is Taurus. And Taurus is about values. So what are your values? What do you value? I think that is the big question. And so with that, I want, this universal message to come through, but let's ask the tarot in this pick a card. What can I value? That's a good question. That's a very good question. What can I value in my life? Ooh, I like that. So I'm gonna start here by doing a little bit of little tiny meditation for you while I shuffle the cards. So go ahead and close your eyes. Notice your breathing, the highway of your nose, where the air comes in and passes through every single little corner of nose tube and into the respiratory system, the other organs of the respiratory system. Notice the breathing. Is it shallow? Is it deep? You don't need to change it. Just notice it. And if you feel like changing it just because I mentioned it, it's okay. Go ahead. We're asking Spirit, what is it that we can value with this eclipse full moon in Taurus? What is it that we can value? Please, Spirit. Okay, so we have 3 choices. The first choice is going to be the medallion. Second choice is going to be the poet. And third choice is the threshold. Okay? So, let's start with the medallion. The medallion in this specific deck, it talks about family heirlooms, so connection to family in physical ways. I have actually been thinking about what it is that I carry that is family heirloom, and I think I have a couple of earrings that have been passed down to me and handed down from my mom. And I think about it quite a lot. I'm not sure why, but perhaps in some ways I want to discover if, you know, they're holding me back in some way. Or or if it's just something that I should carry with me with acceptance. Sometimes when we are going through difficult things relating to family and inheritance, not just inheritance of money and stuff, but also, you know, we inherit patterns, right? We inherit what people did. Sometimes when we're struggling with it, we want to annihilate it, and we want to let go of it, surrender it, not look at it ever again. Because a lot of it came with a lot of trauma. And in this case, I'm wondering, you know, if there's a way that we can integrate things. I've been noticing in myself the need to completely just delete the trauma, and that will heal me. That will make me feel better. But really, it's impossible for me to delete it. It's impossible to delete what happened, and it's impossible to delete how you became how you are because of it, right? So in some ways, you know, the idea of the feeling of like, who am I if I am not this person whose personality has been built by this trauma? You are the person who went through the trauma. And in some way, if you are able to integrate it that way and to really embrace it, to really bring it closer to you and accept yourself for being a people pleaser or, you know, anything else that you ended up becoming because you had to tend to others at a much early age, or kind of a mean person because you were always bullied, you know, all of these shadow sides of us, these parts of us that we don't appreciate, we don't like, we want to hide and keep away or push away, delete. They are our parents, they are our grandparents. We don't know where it comes from. It just comes, and it just came to you. It was handed down to you. And for us, when we were able to embrace that we are the people pleaser, or that we are mean sometimes, and we get triggered and we get mean, or we get cruel, or we get whatever we get, then it's an opportunity for us to start anew with that knowledge that it might happen again. And do you want it to happen again? No, you don't want to be a people pleaser. You don't want to be whatever pattern you are. But is it part of your nature, and are you pushing it away? Is it part of your nature because of the trauma you went through? Is it part of your nature because of the things that happened to you, and you want to push it away, but it's just part of you? Maybe when we accept it, we can let go. Maybe we can accept it and then let go. Maybe then we can surrender. Maybe then certain cycles can end. The world is the end of a cycle. How do we end cycles? How do we let go? How do we surrender in order to heal? In order to finally live with peace? Letting things die. This is Scorpio season. This full moon is in a trine, which is a very happy aspect with Pluto, who is the god of death. Can you let things die? What do you need to do to help things die? What action or non-action do you need to take in order to let something die? What do you need to bury? With love and gratitude. Yowza, you got 4 major arcana cards here. 5! Damn. Major arcana cards are usually, they talk about really huge life changes, like big life changes. So we talked about the world being one of them, right? That's a major arcana card, end of a cycle. That's what it means. Then we have showing up here the moon, which is all about your fears and your secrets and your shadow, which is what we're talking about. And it's the moon, full moon, happy full moon. So, you know, what are you sitting down with your shadow? Are you sitting down? Are you helping yourself to sit with your shadow and give it some attention. We also have the Star, which is another night sky, so another kind of shadowy type of card, but in some way it talks about divine guidance, and it talks about, and I don't know if you believe in what kind of divinity you believe in. I mean, you are here, so there must be some kind of pondering that you do about the world and life and death. But whatever it is, we don't need to put words into it, right? Whatever is beyond us, whatever we have no control over, it is guiding you. It is helping you to shift, to change, to accept the shadow, to accept your fears, and to bring you into, oh my God, this is so beautiful, the Empress. She is Venus. We talked about Venus in the beginning of this video, remember? So Venus is showing up, the moon is showing up. Basically, this is the like, this is the full moon eclipse reading right here. You know, and look at, you see how gorgeous Venus can be. You see how intensely abundant and creative Venus can be. You see how she has so much. She's got so much. She values so much. She's got her pregnant tummy with the bee in her face and a house on her head and a house coming out of her pussy and milk and the earth and the mountains and the trees and the birds and the bees and the roses and the fire and, you know, the stars and the, oh my gosh, the growth, the suns. I mean, this is an abundant archetype. This is an abundant ass archetype. So what can you value? Can you value your shadow? Can you value the shift in the wind? Can you value spirit? Can you value faith? Can you value trust? Can you value your own inner empress? This empress that is full of beauty and value and abundance. Can you value her? Can you value your process of healing and the time it takes to heal? Can you value that perhaps it's never really over, that we just keep on going and things don't get easier, they just keep on going, and we get stronger and we get wiser. And so things keep happening and things are hard, but we can shift. We can change, expand, grow. And sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes it's really like, I just want to die. Like, I just want to be over. And can you value that? Can you value that sometimes you just don't want to continue? I think that is it. That's the message. I adore and appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me. God, I'm grateful for you. I will see you very soon. I have more things planned for the future. Still trying to pay the bills, but you know, little by little, I'm like, I have you and I want to give back because you're giving to me. So thank you so much. Yes, I'll see you very, very soon. Love. All right, pile 2. Holy cow. We have the Poet. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? You know, I forgot to actually read the card of the medallion for pile 1, but I think it's okay because I actually knew what that card was all about and I basically told them what it was about. So I think it will be fine. But I do want to read the Poet because it's a card that I don't usually get very often. And I think there might be some benefit to reading about it. Ah, there it is. Oh, how beautiful. The artist, the witness, the truth teller. The poet's work is to feel immensely and not be afraid. They must seek out truth in the darkest corners of the world and carry it back for all to see. This unique capacity resides within us all, regardless of our relationship to creativity. When the poet energy is present, there is a call for deep honesty and reflection, for seeing the big picture within the little one. The poet rides effortlessly between the personal and universal. It's possible that others may not seem to listen or care about the poet's work, but do not be discouraged. The words of the poet ring true for centuries to come, soothing the wounds of despair and violence that captivate our world. The poet's work is never finished. Find your voice and trust that the wind will carry it. So we're talking about truth here with the poet, for your valuing truth, valuing the truth that lies within your heart. What can we value? We can value the truth. We can value the truth that fuels creativity in you, and not only creativity but culture, because that's what art is, right? Great, wonderful, beautiful art is usually truthful, especially about its time. And so it does talk about how, you know, the poet's voice, it rings true for many, many centuries. I'm thinking, you know, of very old artists, old writers, old poets whose voice are still, you know, still do ring true. Still, their stories still affect us after centuries. So many centuries. So what is the truth? What is your truth? What truth can you value? Let's ask. The truth of temperance. The truth of balance. You wish for balance. You wish for more balanced life. If that's your truth, I don't see why not value it. Does it mean you have to cut certain things off? Yes, you do. Usually we need balance because we've had too much of something and too little of something else. And so we need to pause, right? We need to pause, we need to ponder, we need to be like, why is it that I feel so imbalanced? And that's the beauty of truth, is that it will tell us. We might want to ignore it, but it will tell us very much what we need to hear. I think here for your pile, pile number 2, you are overwhelmed by your mind. It's what is coming up. If it doesn't resonate, you can pick another pile. But this is what I'm seeing, right? This is the 9 of Swords. 9 of Swords is a card all about anxiety, worry. It's about always thinking, you know, about the negative side of things, and sometimes even getting into a loop of negative talk that is really hard to get out of. And so maybe that's the imbalance that you are noticing. And the truth that's coming up is that, you know, there's just so much of the same cycle of repetitive negative thinking. And it's exhausting you, and it's wounding you, and in some way it can even create the feeling of wanting to give up. And so what is it that you need to tend to here that makes you go into this loop of intense negativity? It's not, you know, coming from a place of judgment. You don't have to come from a place of judgment, because that's just more of the same, right? The same loop of self-criticism. Where's that coming from? Where's that voice coming from? Is it your voice, or, you know, did you have a lot of that when you were growing up? Did you experience trauma that had to do with negative thinking? Is that a pattern that needs to be balanced, and some consciousness brought to it in order for you to shift it? And in some way, I'm also seeing here this feeling, this with the 4 of Pentacles, it's this feeling of needing to keep everything close to your chest. And so in some way, there's not a lot of opening. There's not a lot of, it's the closed arms. It's the protection of the heart. It's the protection of your assets. It's the protection of who you are and how much you can share of yourself. So keeping it in rather than relaxing and trusting and perhaps exploring and adventuring yourself into a little bit more of a flowing kind of energy. So what can you value? You can value flexibility. You can value, you know, in some ways you can also value the side of you that thinks negatively too, because really what it's doing is just trying to protect you. And, you know, it's really just up to you to realize, you know, how much do I need protection? Because if it becomes, you know, protection to your detriment where you're not connecting to others anymore, then you get to choose to bring balance into it and bring a little more opening. It doesn't mean that you have to all of a sudden like let all your worries go. That's almost impossible for any of us to do. But just to know that you're already on one side of the scale, very much on the side of the scale of I need to protect myself. So when you notice that, you can start opening up. And as I said, tarot is not the answer. You have to do it. So if someone comes to you, how does it feel to open up just a tiny bit? You don't have to open up like a lot, just a tiny little bit. Will it feel vulnerable? Will it feel strange? Will it feel weird? Will you get like your tummy like is gonna feel weird? Yeah, maybe. But perhaps that's the balance that is needed, right? So and really it's, you know, it's valuing the truth. It's valuing the truth that is inside of you. So what is the truth? Connecting to the truth, because sometimes the mind can also get in the way of the truth, right? If it's too much mind stuff, it's too much negative loop, it can be hard. So perhaps taking a rest, taking a pause, taking a break from anything that's gonna make you overthink. Like, is it work? Is it time with friends who make you overthink? Is it time, you know, is it time for yourself? Is it time, do you need to come back to yourself? Do you need to pause and reflect? Here we see the Seven of Pentacles. This is the card, this is what I'm talking about here. You know, he's overextended himself in some way. He's done too much, and in the process he has not been able to fly. And so how is it that you can, I'm honestly I'm being called to say like joy and lightness and laughter might help you, because it does feel very like the energy feels very like very earthy and very like I'm grounded, I'm protected, I'm safe. Don't come over here and try to fuck things up. You know, and I get it. I've been there very much. That's why I laugh. But yes, but pausing and making things a little easier for yourself, maybe not having to climb the mountain all the way, but like see if there's another pathway, see if there's another way that you can reach what you've been working towards reaching, but in an easier way, in a way that's going to make you feel more relaxed, more balanced, and more free, or freer. So I think that that's the message. Value your inner negative self-talk so that you are able to understand that it isn't the only voice in yourself, and then in that way you can value the voice of truth within you. Is the truth that you just are in this negative loop? Great. That is the truth. Sometimes we need to acknowledge something in order to be able to transcend it. I mean, sometimes no, every single time. That is the only way. There's no other way for us to get over something unless we acknowledge and face it. So acknowledge that you've been in a negative self-talk loop and that you want to give up, and acknowledge wanting to give up. Acknowledge, value wanting to give up, because you've worked so hard. You've done so much. You've just, you've even been hurt. You've been hurt through the process of, and of course you're going to be protective. Can you please value that? Can you please value how much you actually do need to protect yourself? How much you actually do need to, get into this feeling of giving up? Can you value that? Because I think that is what is needed to be valued. And furthermore, above and beyond, is that you need balance, that you need to draw back, that you can't give so much, that you can't be like always overextending yourself and not receiving. You need to have balance, and you deserve to receive as much as you give. So how can you open up to receiving as well? How can you balance out the things that, you know, need to be balanced out? So I'm going to leave you at that. I will see you very soon. I am so grateful for you. Oh my gosh, how grateful I am. Thank you so much for supporting me here. I love people who support people who want to do their art and their work. Because, you know, the world sometimes isn't very supportive. Like the system isn't very supportive of people who want to do what they want to do. So I'm glad you are one of the people who are who's fighting the system, from a place of love, not actual punching, but punch the system. No, but you punch the system by giving artists money. That's what you do. So thanks, my hero. And I'll see you very soon. I have many things planned for our future together here on Patreon. So yes, I love you and have a great eclipse and full moon, and don't forget to pause and take care of yourself, okay? Mwah. Ciao. Number 3, can you please give me just one moment to get a drink of water, because I am thirsty. Give me 1 second. All right, you get to watch me drink. Oh, blessed be Mother Water. Ow. Candle burning. You can make a booger out of it? Oh. No. It would be a very goblin-like booger, wouldn't it?
My only child got a little booger coming out of my nose.
Sorry, I obviously am affected by the last reading for pile 2. I'm like, well, they needed laughter, so I feel like I need laughter too. So, you chose the threshold. The threshold. The threshold. I am going to read this card from the book. The threshold, the door, the gate, the initiation. We cross thresholds continually, consciously and unconsciously. Doorways, gates, and entryways grace our path on a daily basis. When this card arises, it signifies that the precipice you stand upon is not your typical one, however. The precipice of the lunar eclipse. You have arrived at a threshold of initiation, here to usher you into a new reality. It requires you to leave behind the you that you thought was so well formed. Wow. A new frontier calls. This is not easy work. Threshold initiation means a part of you will be lost in order to make space for what is next. A metaphorical death must occur. Hey, Scorpio season. Some may not recognize you. You may struggle to recognize yourself. The ground seems to crumble as you free fall into your new reality. This is the liminal realm. One step, dear friend. Just take that one necessary step toward the future that calls you. One step into the future. Into the future. Time keeps on slipping. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Into the future. Okay, so what we're valuing here, starting off, is really stepping into the future. Stepping into through a new doorway and leaving some things behind. Metaphorical death. It's almost like a death card in some way, but it's also a passage. It's not just death and sitting with death, but it's a death, letting go, and going. Like, I'm moving ahead. Let's go. What is this doorway? What can we value at this time? What can pile 3 value at this time? What can pile 3 value? Oh, those overgivers. Yes. Okay. Can you value new opportunities? Can you value new beginnings? Are you able to do that? Are you able to see when a new beginning is showing itself, presenting itself to you? Because you obviously have new beginnings happening at this time with 2 aces. 2 aces came up. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So this is a new mental beginning and it's a new emotional beginning for you at this time. And there's a lot of clarity that's coming for you. And a lot of fresh feelings. The things that hold you back. The cages that you've been put into and sometimes find hard to let go of and, transcend, not need anymore. What if you did need it? What if you were to value the cage that you've been put in and that you have chosen to stay inside of for a long time? What if you're trying to get rid of something that doesn't necessarily need to get rid of? What if the uncomfortable feelings were to be embraced? I see here that you might have had experiences with friendships or lovers or family members or coworkers that have been painful, right? You have the 5 of Swords here. This card is difficult. It's a difficult card. It's a card of something needing to shift and change. But it's also a card that reminds us that sometimes we fight really to the end to be right. We just really want to be right. And in that process, we end up losing people. And sometimes not being with people, some people, is okay. And it's fine. It's better for us. Or we say it is. But we also carry the part of us that really needed to be right above anything else. Sometimes we put needing to be right above being unconditionally loving, or just being loving in general. I don't know if unconditionally necessarily is a good thing, because sometimes it can turn out to be toxic. But you know, if you are able to have relationships where you are able to be loving above right and still be able to validate your own experience, then perhaps that can be helpful. It can be helpful to put down your swords when someone is going through a really, really tough time, even if they hurt you. Even if they're wrong. Even if you think you're absolutely wrong. You're going insane. You're doing crazy things. You're acting like shit. Right? And they can be. They can be acting like total shits. And so if they're acting like shit, you know, it takes a lot to be able to see that that is hurt and that is pain. And do you deserve to be treated like shit? No, absolutely not. So you are right. Yes. How important is this person to you, though? And how important is it, more importantly, I think, even the question is less about them, but who do you want to be? Because they're acting like shit. Your action is your responsibility. I'm not victim blaming, right? I'm just saying that the way you choose to react to them being shits. I'm sorry, I'm using really bad words right now to explain this, but it just makes it clear, right? Like, if they're acting hurt like if they're being hurtful to you, you can choose to be hurtful back, or, you know, and you're going to carry yourself as that. You're going to carry yourself as the person who reacted the way you reacted. And they're going to carry themselves as the person who acted the way they acted. And you're not going to like what you've done, even if you have the excuse of having done it. Like I was on the right. I was on the right to act like that because I was on the right to cancel them completely. I was on the right to say, fuck off, bitch, you know, or whatever it is. To say all the things, all the truth about them, because that's really stuff they did. And it's like, okay, do you feel bad, though? Really, like, not just on like a surface level, but like, do you feel bad about yourself for having come from a place of just wanting to be right instead of being hurt? I'm hurt by this. I need to figure out what to do with that. How, you know, it's hard. It's so hard to react from a place of consciousness when you're hurt. It's so hard. I think it's like, it boggles my mind. Like, I don't know if I know many people who can do that. I certainly can't. It takes me years after I've been an asshole to someone who's been an asshole to me to realize, oh, maybe I acted like an asshole too. Even though I was totally right. I was totally right. They were such a fucking asshole. They were hurt. And you were hurt. They hurt you. So, in the future, right? In your future, are you going to relate to people who are giving you red flags around inequality? Because I think that this might be a huge part of this deal. Can you value people who give to you as much as you give to them? When are you going to start doing that? When are you going to start valuing the people who give you as much as you give them or more? Who are these people? Who are the people who give you enough? Who are the people that would bleed for you? That's a little intense. I'm just seeing the blood, okay? Don't think I'm a psychopath. It's metaphorical blood, okay? So, yeah, Six of Pentacles is a card of learning to have balanced relationships. You have been getting into relationships with people who are not able to meet you on the same level. And you might think that you're trapped in that and that you can't attract people who are going to meet you on the same level. But here's the thing, right? Can you value the fear that you're not going to find the people who meet you on the same level? Because why are you thinking that? There must be something important there, right? There must be something important that needs to be valued about you fearing that you won't be able to find somebody who's going to meet you in the middle. There's a part of you that's wanting to be acknowledged. There's a part of you that's wanting to be acknowledged for being trapped with this feeling of like, I don't know, I'm always going to be the giver, the overextender, the like, so can you value that? And then can you also value the very reality that you are at a new beginning? That even though you might think you're trapped and that needs to be valued in some way, there's also another thing that needs to be valued, that is your reality is that you are in a new mental beginning, a new emotional beginning. You are ready to open up to all possibilities of letting love in, of receiving this divine universal titty of love and like juice, milk, the milk of the universe. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards ever. And, and that you're just so clear. You're so much more clear. There's like the fog has lifted so much in your life and has really helped you see beyond your horizon. So you're, valuing this transition into this new beginning. You're valuing the death, the metaphorical death, the things that you have to leave behind whatever they are. But first, by doing that, you actually have to acknowledge the fears and the trappings, which are not actual trappings. They just need to be acknowledged. Every dark thought, every difficult feeling needs to be acknowledged. They just need to be held. They just need to be like, oh, this is why I feel like that, because maybe when I was sick, someone told me that I could never do this or do that or be this, and that was a time in my life where I was growing and anything around me was building me and who I am, my belief system. So, can you acknowledge that feeling of being trapped? Can you acknowledge the feeling of being trapped in relationships that don't give you enough? And from there, can you stop maybe teaching people how to give you? How to be? Because you might know a lot about your journey, but people need to find out for themselves. And it's not your responsibility to be their teacher if they're not opening up and giving you an invitation to come to them with knowledge. So don't give to someone who is not inviting you to give. Give to those who are open to receiving. You don't need to be right. You just need to have love. You need to be supported. You need to feel held. You need to feel loved and like you're not overextending yourself. That you're also receiving. But for you to do that, there are certain things that need to shift. Who is it that you're giving to that you're not really supposed to be giving to? Because they don't want it. So, can you value the clarity that's on your mind? Can you value that you feel trapped? Can you value the newness of your heart? Can you value relationships where they bleed for you? And you're not the only one bleeding? And can you value that you, even though you want to be right, perhaps that's not the answer? Can you value the necessity within you to apologize? You feel if you feel you need to apologize. You judge yourself because you haven't really done anything wrong because you were just reacting to them being awful. Is it okay for you to just also want to apologize because you reacted? It doesn't make them less responsible for their own stuff for you to be like, I reacted in a way that I don't feel good about. And can you value the shift? Can you value the shift of a lot, a lot of shift here. There's a lot of shift in this reading. A shift of noticing your relationships, not just doing things automatically, but reflecting before you go into it. So that's your reading. I hope you have an amazing lunar eclipse. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to this message. Remember that tarot is not, it's only a tool. You do need to do the work. The work goes into how you speak to people, in how you respond and how you react, and how much work you do at home, how much you journal, how much you meditate, how much you go to therapy. Like, that's the real work. This is work too, but it's not, it's a tool to help you see the work. So in some way it is a little bit of the work, but if you just stay here, that doesn't change anything. If you just hear the message and keep doing things the same way, that's not the work. The work is in hearing the message and shifting your world, inner world as well as your outer, because they reflect each other, right? So thank you so much again. I will definitely see you very soon. I have many plans for this channel and at Patreon, and I'm excited to share more things with you. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Mwah. Take care of yourself.